Instagram has been giving me so much problems. I always have to do that. And then it's always an update. So I don't know what they have going on, but I'm fixing to get into our second show of the day, Fashion Dolls. We just finished the first one with Dev Martell. That one is up right now. You guys can go and check it out. I'm waiting on my very special guest, Quirky, to get here. Hey, Rage. Make sure you guys go and check out. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like today's look. It feels great to be back. I had to change it up. I had to change it up because when I came back this week, I had like it was going to the side, but today I just chose like the Chinese bangs. I wanted to do something different than what I would normally do. Can y'all hear me and see me okay? I had to uninstall and then reinstall back. IG has been giving me so many problems, y'all. It's not even funny. So while we're waiting on Quirky Couture to get here, in the meantime, between time, you guys can go and check out. She's here. Okay. So I'm waiting on Quirky to send me that invite and I will add her on. Hopefully it works. I had to uninstall and then reinstall right back. I see you, Quirky. Just whenever you send that in, let me see if I can invite her. There we are.
Hello, finally.
Welcome. Welcome to the Dollhouse. How are you?
I am good, and you?
Doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So before we continue on with this interview, how would you say 2024 has been for you so far?
Oof. Ah, the real gist, or do you want the surface one?
Whichever you prefer, girl.
Oh my gosh, 2024 has been, it has been quite, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of balancing, a lot of chaos, but also order. I'm seeing a lot of progress, though it's slow, but it is consistent. So for me, I think 2024 is almost like the accumulation of everything else that has been, and everything finally, like everything finally fitting in, like finally the picture is starting to make sense. So, but it's not come without its dramas and the hard work and everything. But it's been good overall. I cannot complain.
Yes, and you're here. I just asked my previous guest that Dev. He said the same thing about 2024. How has it been? But he's here, and he said that God is making a way. It is happening. So it's been ups and downs for us. The same for me here. So I would say it's been an amazing year for me overall. So I
Awesome.
agree.
Oh, good one.
All right, fashion dolls. So we are here talking with Quirky Couture. Let's talk all things fashion. Let's start from the beginning because with my guests, I love to start from the beginning to know their journey from then to now. Now, tell us a little bit about where you're from and at what age did you discover fashion?
Mm. Okay. So my name is Yemi Scott. I'm Nigerian. I'm from a tribe called the Yoruba tribe. So my journey into fashion started really early as I'll say 6 years old. You know, when you have those dolls you're playing with, and then they come with their default clothing, but you're like, this doll
Yes.
could do with a little, wardrobe change. And then you just pick up the needle and thread and you start to make clothes. So that was how it started for me. It actually started with me making hats, really elaborate paper hats for my dolls. And then we used to have like school rooms, and then we teach them, and then have like fashion shows. We converted everything we put into those. Even my dad's little anchor for his Rotary Club got died, and we named her Alice. She was amazing. So, so for me, fashion has always been something I was very interested in as a child. But also, technology was also something that played a very huge role in my childhood. I was introduced to the computer at the age of 7, and by the age of 8, I was coding my first game. And I at that point, I just knew that whatever it was I had to do in life had to be related to technology and fashion. So it was I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I just knew that for me, it would never be a 9 to 5. I knew I wasn't cut out for corporate, or lifestyle and that toxic, I didn't even know how toxic it was at 7, but I just knew that my my role and whatever I thought I had to do had to be with computers. I just love working with computers.
Now you specialize in 3D apparel. And you also, what I love about you also is that you're eco-conscious. Where we see a lot of fashion designers nowadays are starting to reuse recycled materials. One of them, one of my favorites, and I'm pretty sure you've seen her. She's an American-based designer, Stella McCartney. We've seen a lot of designers are starting to go eco-friendly
Yeah.
route. What are your takes on fashion designers being a more eco-friendly approach versus using vegan leather, all of these things?
Miss TV, where do we start from? Now, I know, when they say, oh, you're very fashionable, but I have a love hate relationship with the luxury fashion brands because for years, they've been greenwashing. They've come out to say they were doing, sustainability, they were sourcing, from eco conscious places, they were using non toxic material. Only, once the EU bill passed, that there was the circularity bill asking now that every life cycle of every product, especially when it has to do with fashion, has to have a life cycle. They need to know where is it coming from, what's the source, how is this going to end at the end of its life cycle, even if it is passed down from generation to generation to generation. And the thing about the luxury fashion is that most of them, and I know for a fact, come into continents like Africa, Asia, seeking for cheap material. I know Hermes sources for their leather from Nigeria. And we know that a lot of them also use cheap labor, in these other countries just to produce and mass produce. So for me, I'm like, yeah, well, it's good that you guys are starting to want to, go in that line. Not like you were not supposed to be in it before, but the thing is, the places where they source this material that they've been using for this high luxury fashion brands, I know where they source them from. I am local. I can get those materials for a very decent price and still pay fair price to these artisans. But that's not what we see when it comes to the international luxury brand. They come in, they take free material, cheap material, then they bring it to Paris, then they have somebody work on it, and then they slam a price tag of like £2,005 on that thing, and you know
Girl,
that exactly, exactly. Do you watch the guy that deconstructs luxury bags and then tells you how much it actually is worth? There's a guy that's what he does. He will go in, he will buy the most expensive bags, Hermes, the LVs, and then he will rip them apart down to the lining, take everything away, and now just give you like a basic, price range. That this in its entirety, the material is just like, let's say this is the amount. By the time he gave the actual figure that this could go for, and you will still make profit. It was such a the price was the disparity was insane. And for me, when I started going into 3D apparel, my passion of what drove me was, how is it possible that the continent that has housed and held this craft for centuries, decades, they don't get the spotlight when it comes to the fashion state. These big brands don't tell you how it is from indigenous communities, from the deep, deep, jungles of Asia that put together and hand wove certain fabrics that they were able to incorporate. They never told you the story behind the pieces. They just simply created something and then they put it on the runway for shock effect. And for me, I'm like, it's time to kind of switch the tables if that is the case. And technology
yes.
for me is the way that we can play fair, literally decentralize the entire system and bring everybody that is interested in fashion. You want to create something, you don't need to know anybody to be able to walk, your fashion line or on a big stage. If you have a digital collection, you will show that digital collection. you can bring in your audience. You don't have to pay one model. I know the models are not liking this right now, but indeed, we need to remove the middlemen for us to be able to bring the pricing down. And I know that when people hear about sustainable fashion, instantly their mind goes to the cost that the fashion, the luxury line has always, put in there, that, oh, because it is, sourced locally and sustainable and hand woven, hand beaded, handmade, and then they slam this price on top of it and like, really?
It's
I
outrageous.
could I could charge you 500 for that same thing that you just paid $4,000 for, and you will still be getting quality, and you will know where your money is going to, who got that money, and how that all of that feeds into the entire production line. So for me, the fashion industry is trying to change the narrative as best as they can, but I'm like, they should leave the stage for younger ones to come in. I feel that they need to create space for upcoming designers, people that have ideas. I'm like, why can't an 11-year-old child show a collection on New York Fashion Week? Must it be this ridiculous 20 capsule collection lineup? Why can't it be three? Why can't it be something that they really put their heart into it, and they can show you something that they can tie a story to that collection? For me, I feel that fashion is intrinsic to everything that we do in life. We are all connecting with fashion. You do not need to be a fashionable person to understand how much everything ties to this. Nature is fashion. We're constantly wearing fabric that is made from nature. If it's not made from nature, it is made from some source of nature. Nobody leaves their house in the morning naked and says, well, I'm going to go out and, and quote the scripture that after all, the Bible says that he clothes the birds in the air. No, we all have to wear some form of clothing. And for me, that means that if it is so collective, if this is something that we all touch, and it is the second largest polluting industry, second to the aviation industry, fashion. And I'm like, how come we're not talking about this? How are we not, driving this sustainable angle? How are we not spotlighting these communities that have crafted this amazing hand woven technologies? Like what I'm wearing right now is Ashoke. It is upcycled. This fabric used to belong to my grandmother, and I asked my mom to send it down, and I used AI to ideate. I wanted to create a blazer, and I was like, okay, AI, this is my idea, this is the fabric I have, this is the style. Now start generating something for me, and it gave me some ideas. Taking that idea, I took it into the digital space, and I created a digital garment. Before I even touched fabric, I didn't even have to cut one fabric before all of this was done. Imagine how much that optimizes the entire fashion production. It cuts your production cost down significantly, and then it also helps you to stop. It's no longer fashion for like, oh, we're going to do fashion just because it's the season. It's summer and the colors are neon, so we are going to just produce this full neon collection. No, why can it not be co-created? Why can't the person wearing the fashion not also design with the fashion designer? Why is this something that has to be a top-down approach? I believe that fashion is something that if you're going to wear it, then you better be involved in the process. So for me, digital fashion does that. I can create this in digital, send it to my client, then look at it and be like, oh, you know what? I don't want the sleeve to be this, pushy. Can we have the sleeve to be a little bit different? And then I can go into the software, reiterate that, and then before I go into production. And then going into production, I can at least, I'm not wasting fabric, because now I know how many people I'm producing for. It's now fashion on demand. And then because it is on demand, I can actually go to these indigenous communities and ask them, can you please weave for me? I have clients that are requesting for this amount of whatever, and this is how much fabric I would need. So produce according to that and pay them the fair market price for what it is they're doing, enough for them to have better standard of living. I mean, I'm talking about, we know how they call them third world countries, or they call them developing countries. I'm from a developing country. I know how the exchange rates, how gravely, different it is from what you're earning as a local person. The GDP is insane. So I'm like, if we can bring technology, and integrate it and somehow bypass, everything else that is, that we know as the banking system and the government, laws against crypto trading, and if we can create digital assets with fashion, and then they have access to a global stage, and then they can showcase anywhere in the world before they even go into full production, and then they have a story behind that where they're talking about these communities, or this is, a company that's been for 100 years, this is what they do, and this is what they produce. So for me, it's there has to be more humanness to fashion. It shouldn't just be while consuming. Humanity is very, very into over consumerism. We just want to take, 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 take. You have Shein now. Any new week, there's a new style up, and then everybody's like purchasing, like, ooh, I like that. Oh, enough from the. If you like, the red, the Quran way, then you like this fashion, and then they just produce, but nobody knows where all of this waste is going to. They just know that they're wearing clothes, but we know where the waste is going to. We see it in our different countries. Ask anybody that comes from India. Ask anybody that lives in Africa. The landfills filled with, second hand coming in from the European countries, just dumped, on our shores, and we don't know what to do with them, and we're like, can we slow down fashion? I mean, if COVID taught me anything, it's that when humanity steps out of the picture, the earth heals itself.
And a lot of everyday people, consumers, I love what you said about the price point, because we look at, I'm a couture girl. I love couture fashion. I love things that are out of the ordinary. And you look at some of the prices and some of these designers, I love them all. John Galliano, Valentino, uh, Oscar de la Renta, Dior. There's so many.
Yeah.
And then we look at the prices. The everyday person wants to look like that or wear a piece like that, and I, it goes back into recycling the black dollar. Shout outs to
Mm-hmm.
my girl Cherry Johnson. Uh, when I had a conversation with her, we talked about recycling the black dollar. What I love about you is that you're a black woman and you're doing this from Nigeria, because you go all, I'm in the United States. And we know Nigeria, I look at some of the pieces over there that some of the women wear, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. Why can't I find this in the United States? And it's because these women take the time to put into their outfits. And you are absolutely right about a yard of fabric. If you go to Joann's Fabric down here in the United States, do you know how much a yard of fabric would cost you? And all of the
Yep.
detailing, the
Yep.
buttons, all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And we
The
have some
trimmings, the
questions.
lining. Mm-hmm.
Yes. We have
Yes.
some comments from the audience here as well too. Naptown, he says, "Where is she from? I love her accent." Um, Sunshine wants to says, "I just had my hair the way she had hers." They're loving you in the comments.
Ah, thank you.
So that's what I was saying about you. You're a black woman, and you got recommended through another black woman. My one of my viewers, Frances, she referred you to the show, and I said, I love this. I love what she's doing, and in the fashion world, we know how anti-black it is. They don't want to see people that look like us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another point that you touched on as well too, and I've been touching on as well when I've sat down with models and makeup artists and hairstylists here on this platform. They talk about how anti-black the fashion industry is, and how we've been seeing an increase of black fashion designers and
Yep.
hairstylists and makeup artists behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes at these very exquisite couture shows.
Yep.
That's more
Mm-hmm.
representation. And what I love about you is that you said, okay, I don't want to be like all of the other couture designers. I want to go ahead and make my own mold. And that's what you did with Quirky Couture. So tell us, how did Quirky Couture, the name, the concept, everything come to be? Because I went through when Francis introduced you to me, and I took a look at your page and I said, wow, this is stunning.
Thank
This is actually something
you.
that I would wear. This is advanced. This is like technology. This is science. This is fashion. It is all in one.
Thank you.
So how did you come up with the name for Quirky Couture? And also back to what you said about nature being an influence. For you, what are some of the influences in your pieces that you create? Where do you pull inspiration from, and how did the name Quirky Couture come to be?
Okay. First, I'll answer the one about the name. How did Quirky Couture come about? So, for me, my personality, I always refer to myself as a very quirky person. I remember back then, when I was even after university and I was working, I used to be a TV presenter. So, I have a background in media. So I was presenting, and I remember that the complaints from the head of the, oh, she's always so animated, and everything. Because I love to move, I love to talk, I can be very goofy. I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, by personality, but I don't look like a nerd. When I go into spaces, when I'm talking about what I talk about, I often find myself to be either one of the very few females in the room, but almost always the only black female in the room. So for me, I always want to stand out. For me, my personality always has to shine forth. I see no reason why I need to hide away. I am African. I am very proud of where I come from. So I go in with my full regalia. I'm the kind of person that if you make the mistake of giving me a theme, I will follow that theme to the very end. I will come with the mask, everything that goes with that. So for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm quirky. I like what I like. I like to wear certain things because for me, when I started, actually stopped shopping. Like normally, you go on holidays and the first thing you want to do is you're looking for the stores, the discounts,
Oh,
with the outlet
it's
malls.
so many.
Every time we come to the US, then it was always the outlet malls that we go into, but back in 2016, I literally stopped going into stores because when I go in and I see stuff on the hangers, I'm like, I like that blouse, but I would like it if the sleeves were, a little bit puffier, if it was a little bit, the colors were a little bit, bigger. So I started to see, if you're looking at this and you're comparing, why not just make it? And I knew that my style was very, very eccentric. I knew that I could go very almost I used to tell people that I can go very masculine sometimes, but I also like my feels. I like to there's a duality when it comes to me. I can be very heavily masculine in the way I present sometimes. If I was known as a tomboy for the better part of my teenage years into my all through university, I think I did start to reform until my final year in university. You know, so for me, like I love that the angles. I like the cuts, the edge. I love to see pieces, but I also love to put that little touch. I'm like, oh, quirky, quirky, couture because I was hand making them. I was doing these pieces by hand by myself. So I'm like, okay, quirky couture sounds good. So that was how the name came by. And then what was your second question again?
Where do you pull inspiration from? Because I looked
Inspiration.
at your page and I see nature, I see science, I see beauty, I see color, and these are all of the things that I look into when I dress and fashion as well too. So where do you pull inspiration from?
Inspiration. I have to say my mom was my first inspiration. I remember growing up, mom used to have this particular way that she dresses. She's still very much alive. First of her hair was never black. It was either purple or something. She was always dyeing her hair. And then she had this, they had this pleat skirt back in the 90s that it drops right underneath the bum and then it just pleats. It gives you like a whole hourglass shape. And my mom has a full hourglass figure, a proper African body, African woman. She's full, nice and voluptuous and very curvy. And then she'll wear this colorful blazers that will just stop right below, by the top of her hip. And then she'll have scarves. And there was a way she used to drape them. They had to drape a certain way for her. And then she'll put a brooch on it. And I used to think that she was the coolest mom ever, and she was never afraid to play with colors. When I look at her photos from when she was younger, she had style. My mom has always been that stylish. So I grew up, watching her, seeing how she dressed, and I liked it. And I come from a culture where we are not afraid of patterns or colors. We will. Have you seen a Nigerian person dressed? They will layer the pattern on pattern. And you'll be like, oh, that's all that's it. But when they show up, you're like, ooh, where would I wear that to? That's always the question with African fashion. Like you see, like this is so elaborate. And where would I wear this to? But African women wear it every single day. We grew up designing our own clothes every time we have an event. And there's literally an event every other weekend. So for every wedding that is Nigerian and you get invited for, they have the wedding colors. So they'll give you the colors and then they'll also show you some fabric for
Yep.
that event. Now it is your duty as the guest to take your fabric, find a style, take it to the tailors. Maybe you're making some adjustments or edit that style, make sure the tailor gets it, and then produce it exactly what it is you envision in your head for your fabric. So everybody showing up at that wedding is coming up with their own individual styles.
Love
And
it.
those pieces, unfortunately, never get worn again. Because there's another wedding coming up next week that you already have fabric for that you have to go make. My elder sister right now has a wardrobe full of clothing, amazing couture pieces that she designed because she always co-created with her tailors, and they're just sitting there. There's nowhere to wear them to because they were either too elaborate or then nobody's calling those colors anymore, and everything like that. It's almost like the Asian culture as well, or the Japanese culture with the kimonos. You know,
Yes.
I have this kimono that was upcycled. I got it from Etsy. The designer takes kimonos and upcycles them and makes them into this really nice, almost like a house coat, but it has like another layer. And this is all original Japanese kimonos. I'm like, why can't we do this? Why can't we upcycle everything that we have? Like this ashoke now that I'm wearing, a lot of weddings have them. So you have cupboards filled from top to bottom in people's houses of their grandparents' ashokes that they've died and they've just left them there. Like, why can't we take these pieces and upcycle them? Why can't we use them to create more modern, you know, pieces like, blazers, skirts, waistcoats, and all of that kind of stuff? So, yes, mom definitely won. My culture too. Another thing is again that I've lived in a lot of countries. Currently, I'm living in Scotland. I used to live in Southeast Asia. I've been to America quite often. So all the while in Southeast Asia for 5 years, was moving in between Cambodia, Malaysia, and all these other parts in Asia. So I love the way their culture is as well. I like the way they do fashion. They also do prints. You're missing the Thai silk, amazing. The details are phenomenal. And you go into this place and you can pick up fabric from the market and you're seeing the way that they dress, still cultural, but finding a way to blend into the modern. And for me, I was like, that started to inspire me a lot. I'm like, okay, I know where I'm from, but I also like to share my culture with people from, other communities. But I want them to also be comfortable that they can kind of wear what I wear, but of course, it has to be. You have to have a bit of a spunk to wear a quirky couture. Because I used to tell people that if I'm making a piece for you, you better know that you have the guts to wear it because it will start a conversation. My pieces are always designed to start a conversation. When you enter into a room, you will be the focus of attention at one point or the other. So I'm like, if you ask me to make clothing for you, are you sure you have the nerve, the audacity? Can you damn the consequences? Are you not shy to be the center of attention because it will draw attention to you?
And that it definitely is. And we both have that in common where we like styles that are eye catching. We like different prints, different patterns. And that's what I love about this collection right here is that you showcase range. And right now it's the summertime. So you're going to see a lot of different colors. We're both
Yes.
wearing colors. Today I'm wearing lime green, you're wearing
I love your
magenta.
lime green.
And we're starting to see people just take the plunge and take risks with color and
Yeah.
style. And as far as couture fashion goes, We are now seeing the rise of people starting to say, hey, I look through Vogue and I look through Harper's Bazaar and I see looks, but I want to come up with something original for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people are doing. They're taking from their own inspiration. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that they're using upcycled materials. It's
Yeah.
like upholstery with furniture where you
Mm-hmm.
go and you recreate something in your likeness. That's what it's about as far as creating your own design and originality.
You know, when you mentioned upholstery now, I remember Sound of Music. When
Hmm.
Maria made the clothing for them. I remember the horror at the captain's face. But if I'm looking, I'm like, that is ingenious. I would do that exactly. I'm like, that's fabulous fabric, you know? So I'm like, why was he so mad?
And that's what it is. You're recreating, and you're bringing something else back to life. My mom is the same way. Like if she sees a bow or something, she'll add it onto her blouse. Like my mom will always add a button or a detail, and she loves hairpins. She likes hair
Oh,
clips.
love
My
it.
mom likes
Yes.
hair clips. So it's the most inanimate things that stand out. Details. Fashion is about
Yep.
detail, especially when it comes to couture fashion. So
Yep.
if you're wearing these pieces out to a meeting or if you're wearing them to a gala or an event, be ready to show up and
Yep.
show out and have the eyes on you because that's what couture fashion is. It's on a whole nother level.
Yep.
And your vision, you're telling the designer or the seamstress or whoever's making that masterpiece for you. You show them that we're now in an age of AI where people are
Mm-hmm.
using AI designs. And I've seen some of the AI designs and I'm just like, this is gorgeous. Why didn't they showcase this on the runway? And we just recently had the Met Gala, which was
Mm-hmm.
not too long ago.
Yes.
And I'm starting to see a lot of people take look at the AI designs and have their designer recreate the same thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's so crazy how fashion and technology go hand in hand. And I wanted to know your thoughts on that as someone who does 3D designs, how people are now embracing the AI, artificial intelligence, as it pertains to being in the fashion industry.
Oh, uh, that's a lovely question because I have just the right response to that. So there's the first ever AI Fashion Week was held earlier this year, and one of the top three finalists happened to be a friend. Her name is Okwe Stylist. She's based in New York as well. She's been in the fashion industry, the fashion stylist has been working for a very long time in the industry. But she always had the problem of I don't know how to sew. You know, I just know how to put pieces together. You know, but she's like, but I
Mm.
know that if I had the ability, but I can't sew, and I do not understand 3D design. But then AI came out, and then she had that opportunity to enter into the first ever, and she came up as one of the top three finalists. That Revolve was able to take the pieces and recreate them into the physical. So when this happened, I mean, she was shocked, like, oh, I never saw that coming. Because of what she did, I got a call from here in Scotland, from Glasgow, telling me that they wanted to host the Tech Week. And that they wanted me to host a fireside chat, and they were looking to bring to speak to this person, and then they said her name. I laughed. I'm like, who? Yeah, so I'm like, oh yes, definitely, I do, and I'm definitely that she would love to come over to Glasgow and have this fireside chat in person. We had met um during post COVID on Clubhouse. That was how we met. And we had started to explore into the tech back then. She wanted to know what was coming. I was already in the space. So I was telling her, have you been to the metaverse? Have you done that? Have you done that? And she's like, oh, no, 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 no. And then we start going into the space. So we really formed a bond back then on Clubhouse. We had never met before. So this opportunity, just by doing AI fashion, brought us together on the same continent at the same time, just by the sheer happenstance of our passion for technology and fashion. And for the first time, we're able to see. And when we hosted the fire, I mean, we closed down the entire event. There were at least 2,000 guests, and we
Wow.
shut it down. Like we were, they were like, "Oh, you guys have so good synergy," you know, and all of that, and all of that, and all of that. what I love the most about this space, this emerging space, is how we are all thinking of the collective. We are not thinking about like how are we going to make money by ourselves. Because when I tell people, when I talk about what I know, in space, they're like, how are you not a millionaire right now? How don't you have like a private jet right now? And everything. I'm like, yeah, but the thing is that we all want to win in the space, but we want to do it equitably. We want equity to be the first thing that makes us. So for us, when we start to bring
Yes.
in these technologies, for the first thing for us is not how we make money. Even the collection that she got made, she didn't get anything for it. It was just that opportunity, that platform. And we're like, we're not getting paid because we know that this technology, if used in the right way for good, will do not just the best in helping us to ensure that we have that secularity built into our processes from the ground up. It also ensures that we are able to give back to communities that usually get, sidetracked in the whole fashion production
Yes.
process. It also helps us to keep track of where all of our pieces are going to, because with the technology, there's so many layers. Now we're talking about AI. AI is the new kid on the block, obviously. Like everybody, chat GPT this, chat GPT that, mid journey this, mid journey that. But the thing about AI is it is such a vast system. This is literally quantum computing. And we're going into where we're bringing in every aspect of dark technologies,
Yes.
DeFi, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, digital twinning, immersive experiences. For me, fashion is not just we can't just plug into one. We have to plug into all. Because in the end, I am looking at a future where you said now that for the Met Gala, people were able to bring their AI designs to life. Now we're hoping
Yes.
for when can we get to that point where in your own room, in your own space, you get your phone, you prompt something, you're like, I have a cocktail event tonight, and I want to look like Barbie. So AI, give me, I want this, a pink dress, I want it to be frilly, I want some butterflies, extended outwards, I want this and I want that. Can we take what is prompted and 3D print it? But not just 3D printing, 3D printing on eco-conscious, sustainable material. I know that there's a fabric out there now that is made from plant algae. So it looks
Yes.
it looks opaque, but you can see the chlorophyll in that fabric and it's living. And once you're done with that fabric, when you're done wearing the pieces, all you need to do is lay it on the floor somewhere in the garden and it goes back to compost. Now, how can we get fashion to that point? I see a future where it will look a bit like the sci-fi, where everything we wear is just very bland. I know you don't like that sound of but yeah, like I'm looking at a future where we can have, we can overlay our digital assets on our physical pieces, and that's where we're talking about the augmented reality glasses. Can we, share certain experiences with our audience? Imagine if you're going down, say, 54th Street now, somewhere in New York, and then they tell you that, oh, there's a fashion event going to be happening in the corner of 52. But you have to have the AR, activation code to be able to participate. And you already own maybe like a fashion asset from the designer. So it gives you automatic access into this experience. So you're going in and you have your glasses on and you're walking down the street and you turn right into that corner and instantly your glasses instantly reads that this is, the space that you have access to. So you go into a portal and then it transports you into an immersive experience. Right there, you are going in, you are seeing digital models walking runways. Nobody else sees this with you except anybody else that has access to this event. And you've had an entire immersive experience right there with your glasses. Nobody else was there but you and every other person that was signed into that space. And you see how not one light had to be, to be put on. You did not have to pay for signage. There was no fossil fuel burnt to transport people to the location for your event. That's reducing carbon emissions greatly. That's not just sustainability. We're already looking at how can we start to drop our carbon footprint. I mean, the entire world is talking
Yes.
about, oh, this global warming and everything. We know the climate is changing. We know something is happening. We know definitely that we are doing some major damage in some way, shape, or form. And so for me, the tech and the fashion is my quickest way of how can I do my little part in my own little bubble, try to drop, the carbon emissions. How can I start to redefine how the fashion industry, is interacted with? How can I do my part? I mean, we don't know it all. All of these technologies are, some have been. We are just now coming to how to use them. If you know what I mean. The metaverse has been spoken about since 1999. It's not a new term.
Yeah.
AI, large language models, artificial intelligence, sentient AI, this has been since years, but now we're starting to see, oh, this is how we can use these tools. They are still tools. They cannot replace humanity. These are just, it's like Microsoft Excel, your PowerPoint. This is a tool. Now we're like, how can we make this tool work for the benefit of humanity? And if we can use these tools in the most intrinsic, in the sectors that are very, very physical, because technology is not always physical. So most times people can't see how do we transition. But we're like, this tech can be physical. We can make it physical through what it is that we eventually produce using technology. And that way start to change the whole narrative one way or the other. Yeah.
And it's so different now. It's more that meets the eye, because we've come a long way from just sketching on the sketch pads, sitting at a table, pulling inspiration, flipping through fashion magazines. Whereas now everything is now technology based. It's in 3D. It's in there in real time. Like, you can create the design you want. And that's what's so unique with all of these up and coming designers. Like, I was watching one fashion show, and they made some of their pieces, like the models were rolling out on these little like skate things, LED, I mean, putting into the dresses. It was so
Mm-hmm.
incredible. So we've seen a lot with technology and fashion go hand in hand together. We've come a long way.
We have. We have. And I can only hope that it becomes something that is mainstream. Of course, for that to happen, the devices that need to be market entry price points. I'm talking
Yes.
about AR glasses that are like 50 quid. We need the tech to match the purse of the common man, or at least something that can be
Sure.
aspired to. So for me, it's not just, oh, there's this tech, and a lot of people that have come into the space, or that are coming into the space a bit later, are trying to, they found a way to kind of play the game in a way that makes it seem as if it's so expensive. This is so, ooh, can we ever even attain this level of, intricacy and innovation? Yes, and
Yes.
hopefully it should not cost an arm, a leg, a liver, and everything else that you have to put into it. I mean, why is fast fashion doing so well? It's because the economic recession is hitting everybody, and you can't
Yes.
tell somebody that cannot put milk on their table that, oh, by the way, why don't you buy this 100% cotton, hand woven sweater, because it will last you longer, but it's going to cost you £1,000, to be able to afford this, level of, sustainability. No, can we be more ethical in how it is with price? Can we be more ethical in how we make our data, available to our consumers? But the good thing about this generation that I am loving, the Gen Z, I'm a millennial. So uh, the thing I love about the Gen Z and the Generation Alpha coming, whom I happen to have two offsprings that are in Gen Alpha, is that they are not brand conscious. They don't pander to brands. They are very individualistic in the way that they think, the way that they dress. They are the kind that are asking questions like, where is this coming from? Who is doing this? The Gen Zs are the cancel culture generation. They hear something is wrong about your brand before you have time to rectify it. They will cancel you with one post on Twitter. And that same generation is the kind that when they believe in a cause, they will go hard for that cause, and they will see to it that it brings to fruition what it is that they hope it will bring. So they have a strong, the way they move is quite dynamic. I like it. I know most people from my generation like, oh, they don't, or these Gen Zs, and I have complaints about the Gen Zs. I love the Gen Z. I'm like, I'm a millennial but with a Gen Z mind. I rebel against what should be the norm. If what is the norm does not cater
I'm the same way.
to the collective, then sir, you got a question to answer. And if you're not giving the right answers, we will pull everything down if we have to, and we will rebuild from scratch. And for me, that is what I feel the fashion industry has to do, but not to that degree where we are taking away from the traditional. We want to spotlight traditional with technology. So for me, it's like there's no point. We need the traditional as much as we need the tech, because without the artisans, the weavers, the people that do the needlework, hand beading these beautiful couture pieces. Couture is definitely going to become something that will become mainstream. It's not going to be just for the
Yes.
high and mighty. Everybody will eventually have access to being able, even if it is a knitwear. That is couture to me. You sat down, you knitted different patterns, you made a nice crochet dress. That is handmade. That is something that is coming from your craft, something that you have honed, something that you are hoping that you can, share a little bit of your design aesthetics, with the community. And that's the thing about this generation. They are very community driven. If somebody likes maybe graphics of like a body, for instance, and they see a nice hoodie that has a body, NFT on it, they will go for that rather than go for a Hermes or an LV or anything else with a big brand, because to them they
Right.
identify with that. They're like, oh, I like that. I really like that. And then you find a community around that. And like fashion should be community driven. We should all, go into the places where we like what we like, and be able to create from that space as well the things that we like to see.
And it's so many designers out here. Like it's like where do I go? Where do I turn? Well, you can easily pull inspiration from just the most inanimate things, from
Mm-hmm.
nature, from I mean a hairpin. I mean you have so many options out here nowadays to create your own
Yep.
designs as it pertains to couture fashion. The
Yep.
options are endless.
Yep.
And it's open that you take an open opportunity. And I tell people this all the time. You have to see through a glass eye. You have to see through a glass eye, meaning that you have to step outside of your norm, outside of your
Yep.
comfort zone. From,
Yep.
I mean, yes, it's okay to like the LVs and all of these others, but there are so many couture designers out here that are doing this 3D designs. Like if you go to New York, as you mentioned, your friend from New York.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, FIT, there's so many up and coming students, constituents
Yep.
that are designing their pieces, and they're
Mm-hmm.
just out of this
Yep.
world.
Yep. And I hope that the next Met Galas, the Grammys,
Oh
that there will
yes.
be more, spotlight on these upcoming designers that are doing really amazing things. I mean, we already have Digital Fashion Week, in New York, in Paris, in London, and it's running concurrently with all the other digital fashion weeks. So it's good to see, like when we started the conversation, the luxury fashion line. Yes, they're going into these spaces now. They're trying to integrate this technology like everybody else. We don't know what's going to happen with this technology. We're just
Oh yeah.
literally all just researching it, playing around with it, seeing what else can we do with this technology. We know it's going to be big. We just don't know how big it's going to get. But we know it's definitely going to change everything. Everything as we know it. Not just fashion, finance, real estate, even restaurants, healthcare, space,
Yes.
aviation. It's changing everything. It's like the dot-com age. And when I tell people, like, when the dot-com age, I'm a millennial, I'm 40. You know, when internet came first, it was the dial-up modems, remember? You had to press, wait for that tone, and then you know that, oh, finally I'm connected to the internet. Now you have your mobile phone, you can be anywhere, even outside in a
Right.
cafe, and you are connecting to public Wi-Fi, you are going on the internet. We remember when we had to go stand by a particular tree by the house because that's where you
Or a
normally
box to
catch
hear it.
it, or climb
Yes.
all the way up to the roof. That was the dot-com age. That was back in the 90s. Look how long it took for us to get from dial-up modem to mobile handheld devices. Now,
Hmm.
look at how long it is taking for AI and all of these technologies to change the way that we do stuff. So we already know that this is a new age, like the dot-com age, like the iron age. This is the tech age. Whether people like it or not, it is here, it is happening. The least you can do is have some information. Ask the right questions. If you do not have the right questions, be open to at least listen. When you hear what is going on,
Yes.
then you can say to yourself, do I need this technology? Because it's not every aspect of the technology that is essential. Not everybody needs AI in their business. Not everybody needs, digital twinning in their business. Not everybody needs to integrate augmented reality or virtual reality. But the thing is, if you are doing any business, you should integrate one aspect. Because right now, the whole system, the startup system, the biggest unicorns in the space right now that are in Silicon Valley, pulling a lot of millions, they're all integrating technology. It's like this craze for carbon capture. It's going all over. We know fossil fuel isn't going anywhere, but let us all pretend that we all want to get into this green bill and follow through. But the truth is, until we all start to be accountable and start to do our own due diligence in our different sectors, it doesn't matter what you do. Just go in, ask the questions. What is this? What is crypto?
Absolutely.
What are smart contracts? How does it work? And find the right people that will tell you the truth. Anybody that comes to you in the Web3 space and the first thing they're giving you is a deal before they even want to hear what it is you want to know, run. Red flag. Red flag right there. Because that is what the space is for. Most people know that a lot of people do not know. And those that know are very few. But because the knowledge is so few, people that actually know are not are sharing the knowledge in their little spaces, but those that know a little and don't know a lot are filling the spaces and then asking for a lot of money, to share this information. What my at least my sphere, the people that I have a net worth with in this space, what we do is that we are very, very happy to share information with you for free. Like we will tell you what is going on. We're like, yeah, oh, what crypto should I buy? Don't you even dare. Keep that money in your pocket. Go buy yourself some waffles. Get yourself something like, but stay out of that space. It is not for you. We know how the space has been. We can honestly give you a very honest projection. If you ask for it and if you ask for a more detailed one, we will go into detail with you. But the thing is that let's know enough so that we don't appear to be would I say not ignorant, because a lot of businesses have died out of the fear of didn't know how to pivot when the change came.
Mm. Yeah. And that is 100% true. And my thing is, I want the black collective as a whole to recycle the black dollar. There are so many black fashion designers out here. And if you go all the way back to the 80s, to the
Yep.
70s, and even
Oh,
more in time, do your
yes.
history, do your research. They
Mm-hmm.
were here. So we're now starting to see a rise and an increase of all of these black fashion designers taking the runways of New York, taking the
Yep.
runways of Paris, taking the runways of London Fashion Week, and so many others. It's important that you go out here and support these up and coming designers who are doing luxury couture fashions. Not saying you can't support who you want to support. If you like Valentino, I know I like
In fact,
Valentino, but I always
exactly.
put back into
Oh.
the black fashion brands as well too, like Sergio Hudson and so many others
Mm-hmm.
out here.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you, Miss Siri. Like I always wonder sometimes why don't we wear a lot of, and I hear you. I'm like, I know I'm not Black American and I'm African. And sometimes it's for us Africans, it takes us a while to kind of put ourselves in your shoes as Black American and see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But however, when we do have the ability to look from the outside inwards, because we're coming from a place where we didn't know racism. We didn't know we were living amongst our own kind,
Mm,
you know. And then we come into this country where literally it is still in your faces. Like there's still people that were still alive when Rosa Parks was fighting for a right to sit on the bus. You know, we still have generations that can be tied directly to slavery, and you can see how damaging that has done to the psyche of the Black man. You know, when you see yourself like, oh, I can't rise above this. Like there's this glass ceiling that just always seems impossible for the Black folks to want to pass. And when you do crack it, you end up, you know, when another Black person sees you, they're wondering, how did you do it? How did you do it? You know, I think it's time for us, like you said, give back to our own communities. We need to start
yes.
putting our monies back into Black businesses. Like for instance, I don't buy any bag other than she's a Nigerian designer. Her name is Zashadu. In fact, during Beyonce's album where she was listing Black designers, she was listed. And this person, when she started her bag brand, I have one piece that was never done. It is a one of one collection, and I don't buy from anywhere else. She sources her leather from Nigeria. Her artisans are all based in Nigeria. She When you go into her store, she also stocks in Selfridges in London. I think she also has stock in Harrods. So what she does is she takes it back home. So when you come to her store, you will see the craftsmanship. They will work on your back for you. You can co-create with them there. And then there's healthcare for her staff. You know, they're getting like not just minimum, above minimum standard wage of living.
Yes.
And she says that when I go into the market to get my leather, because she's so popular in, the locals know her so well that you know they're literally like, oh auntie, you're back. Oh, I have this new leather for you. It's community. This has gone beyond just the CRS, you know, part of, no, we're just ticking the box. You know, a lot of times there's a lot of box ticking going on right now with the EID, equality, inclusion, and diversity. You know, and we hear a lot of it going on. You know, when you just put that Black person there just to, you know, be the poster child, you know, but they'd never get to have the kind of decision making authority. But I'm like, you want to be a decision maker, go start your own business. Go start your own business. Well, not only are you starting your own business, you now make sure that you are plugging back when you're looking for your net worth, you are plugging into other Black businesses. It's not because we're trying to segregate, it's just because we know that the disparity is really large. And we know that we need to start to do something consciously so that we can start to give back within ourselves. Otherwise, what is the point? I know, I like you said, we all love the designers. I do have my own personal designer brands that I will go for anytime. But I love thrifting. I will thrift every day, any day, all the week. But the thing is, when you take these brands, the luxury brands, you know, and then you pair them with a nameless brand, you don't have to ask yourself, like the sunglasses, what material was used for this, you know, sunglasses? Plastic. Plastic there, plastic here. Okay, so they both use plastic. So what makes this brand any different from this one? The name. And the thing is that when we pay for the brands, we're paying for the family names. Who are these families? Where's your money going back into? Is it if you're not plugging back into where it can really matter, then what's the point? Are we just buying because we want to appear to be a certain kind of way, to to fit a certain kind of persona, or to to flex, to look like, oh, I drive this Ferrari and I'm black, ain't nobody can talk to me. If the police is going to pull you
Right.
over in the US, they will still pull your ass over in the US, and you will still get harassed. So again, we now ask ourselves, so what exactly, why why do we spend the way we do as a black community? Why are we not more conscious? Why are we not giving back more to our own communities? Why are we not building our own selves? I mean, why can't we build within our own communities? So I completely hear you. And that's what it is, that's what I would hope that what I do for Quirky can do for every other designer. So, for instance, now there's a venture that I'm doing. It's called the Announce Digital Lagos Digital Fashion Week, and what we're doing is we're bringing Digital Fashion Week to Lagos, and we're bringing it from the Afrocentric angle. We want to create this platform
Mm.
where those designs that you've been seeing and wondering, why don't we have them here in the US? We want to bring them to the US, but bring them from the digital platform, when we can have you come in, you can experience this, this virtual event, but you can still have access directly to the designers and be like, oh, I like that digital piece. I would like to order, this design. And then you can have your own custom made attire specific
Yes.
for you, and then delivered. And then again, the global community starts to see that sustainability is not that far off. It might be in Africa, but technology is blurring our borders now. It's making distance so it's insignificant right now. So why is it impossible for you to get the kind of fashion that you want from Nigeria? I think we need to do something about that. So that's one of the things
Yes.
we'll be working on. So yes, we want to shoot spotlight this, and there are so many amazing Nigerian designers that are already doing phenomenally. Like there's one fairy designer. Her name is Ukwo. What she does is she takes jeans, upcycles them, and creates new fabric. That she completely new fabric from upcycled jeans. She's shown on the New York board. She's known globally as a sustainable brand, and she's pushing that narrative for the African communities. She has a community of women that do this, these artisans. They have a home. She gave them a home, provides healthcare for them. So it's all of that. We were now becoming a culture where we are taking responsibility for keeping the craft, for saving, for kind of archiving all of these amazing techniques that we are losing really fast because of
Yes.
westernization and everything else going on. We need to preserve our history. We need to be able to show the Black Americans where they came from. Like, this is home. Africa is the birthplace of everything, everything good, everything sustainable. This is where you came from. You might not be able to tie directly yet, but this is why we are doing what we do, so that we can show you that you come from a much richer heritage. Everything black is rich in culture. Our rap, our music, our fashion, our style. It doesn't matter which part of the divide we come from, whether we are purely African or black African. There's always that thing you see that that's my person. That's my tribe right there. That's another black person just being fabulous. Why we need to be able to spotlight each other a lot more.
Exactly. And I hope that you guys, the viewers, are paying attention to everything that Quirky is saying here. It's true because I've said this I've said this a lot of times here on my platform, that we have to pour back into these up and coming black fashion brands and
Mm-hmm.
designers. I mean, the rise ever since the pandemic, people were starting to be like, okay, I can't go to the store.
Yep.
So what am I going to do? how am I going to get this gown for this event? And people were doing things virtually. So
Yeah.
people became creative and started creating their own things at home. And now we're seeing the rise of AI. A lot of people are starting to take advantage of that and use that as well too to incorporate into their designs.
Mm-hmm.
And watching them come to life is beautiful.
Yeah.
So we have to recycle that black dollar and give back to these black owned fashion brands and businesses out here. It's very, very important. And it was Zendaya stylist La Roche. What he did one year for the Met Gala was he brought a team of black stylists and
Ooh,
designers with him to
nice.
the carpet. That is inclusion, and
Yep.
that's what we want to see more of. So there's definitely going to be a cross blend of a lot of African-based
Yep.
designers, Nigerian-based designers,
Yep.
all black, coming to the United States to bring their designs down here. And then the crossover of the United States starting to come over to other countries as well too. So we're seeing
Exactly.
the influx, we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing the blend, and I'm loving it.
Yep.
And it goes back to what you said about this generation, Gen Z, Gen X. This generation right here with technology is completely different than the way it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like I said, you're sitting there and you're sketching on a pad, and then it's like a light. You're sitting at the table,
Yeah.
but now you get to incorporate all of these different details and things. It's so
Mm-hmm.
unique and amazing.
Yes. So thank you. I mean, I remember when we tell people that, oh, we're prompting, prompt engineering for fashion. And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, don't worry. We'll do it while we're sitting on the toilet, while we're trying to cook our food.
Right.
It sounds easy, but we can come up with a full editorial photo shoot right there on the toilet seat, just prompting away. When people get angry at AI and like, oh, the machines are here to take over. And I remember how I started in the digital fashion space. When I started, there were no YouTube videos, tutorials. We had to learn how to use that software. I literally had to go learn how to sew from a proper seamstress for me to be able
Yes.
to use the software and understand it. Now you have so many tutorial videos showing you this, showing you that. When we were creating digital models back in 2018 and 16, 17, you had to use primitives, to create these intricate models. Now you just have sliders. They're just sliding. Give me these eyes, give me this nose, give me this hair. I feel like, oh, they should go through the same process. It's not hard. I'm like, I'm not hating on the technology. Like, we need technology to become simple. I'm not hating on anybody coming into the space now and it's easier for them. That was the purpose of coming in earlier. To be able to create this space and make it easy for somebody else who wants to navigate it and be like, oh, I've done it already. Let me show you the way. So this is what you need to avoid. This is what you need to focus on. And for me, is that's the beauty of what we do. We are not hoarding information anymore. We are literally
Absolutely.
giving it out to people. Or you want to know. If you do not know, before they'll say, oh, go Google this. Go ask ChatGPT. Go ask ChatGPT about this thing and then ask it to help you to um like freshen up your ideas, give you different angles to these ideas, the things that you did not even think about. You are just putting something there like, I just want this idea, and ChatGPT said, oh, have you thought about this? Or what if you bring in that and ask this question? There's so many layers and spectrums now. There's no excuse for anybody to say, oh, I don't know this or I don't know that. Like, literally, go use some technology, ask some questions. You want to know where black designers are focused, where they are based, go do your research. There's no excuse anymore that, oh, I don't know where to get this black sustainable designers from. Go and ask some questions. Start paying attention to these spaces. Start going into this, events. It's a conscious thing to be intentional, to want to do something for your community. You have to be intentional about it. You cannot be business as
Absolutely.
usual. And when I buy my bags, I'm very intentional. I will not buy any bag that is not made from Nigeria. Personally, like I went into, I went into what's this big it's like a Harrods, it has Harrods and Knightsbridge in London. I remember it was last year with my friends and they love their luxury. And I don't hate on them. I mean, these ladies are hard workers. You know, so I'm like, you know what? You've worked hard for it, spend your money. But we go into LV, I think, and then they were looking at it. Oh, when's your latest season? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like there rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh gosh, and this end already. Like I am tired already. Like I will leave. And they're going over. Oh, and they see this bag, and it's made from snake skin or something, or crocodile skin. And I oh, and they're going ooh and eyeing. And at that point, I had to be the devil's advocate. I'm like, ladies, you do know that this bag and the leather, you can get exactly the same thing from this Nigerian designer, right? I'm like, you do know that, right? You know, they're like, oh, whatever. So if you told you to pick like one of this now, which would you pick if they just wanted to give it to you for free? I said I'll pick none because I know where my money has to go to. Because what it is you're owing and eyeing about, I know somebody that's a black designer that does even better. Why are you
Right.
not, patronizing this person? Why are you not at least diversifying your fashion collection, bringing in more black designers, being intentional about bringing in more black designers into your collection? Because it has to be intentional. Like you said, we don't know where these people are. We just hear about,
It's
someone here,
so
someone there
many.
doing something amazing. You're like, wow, I never knew. Like we have to look for them. Unfortunately, they don't have the kind of spotlight and presence that other bigger names that enjoy within the industry because of course you know how the fashion industry can be, very red tape, very toxic. If you don't know this person to know that person, you cannot show on the stage, but we need to find our own people and be intentional about bringing them out. You're an influencer. You go seek out the black designers. Wear something from a
Yeah.
black designer. Tag them in what they're doing. It's those little things. You don't have to be there. It's just showing that collectivity, that oneness. Like I see you. It's literally like an I see you kind of. It's not like, oh, I see you. I see that you are walking the space. I appreciate your craft, and I want to, you know, give you that, that acknowledgement. Your flowers. I'll buy something from you. I went to another designer show last weekend, and I saw a beautiful corset, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get this. And I'm gonna wear it and I'm gonna tag you, because this is so cool. And she was like, oh my gosh, the way you styled it, oh, and everything. And that's what we like,
Mm-hmm.
we
See?
support each other, and we can't preach it enough, like, but it is true. We need to be intentional about how we support our own black, our black brothers in business, especially fashion. If you are going to at least spend your money that you don't have, roll it back into the community, give back, buy $20 top from, this young artist doing something nice with a t-shirt, you know, contribute to that. We need to start teaching our kids how to be business minded. They need to start to grow their own business from a young age. I'm already telling my 11-year-old daughter, what do you do? What do you want to do? She's like, oh, I like graphics, I like painting. I'm like, so paint, put it on a t-shirt, let's do some business together. I
Create
told
it
her,
young. Right.
go and design your poster. You want to walk dogs, go design your poster. I will help you do that. Whatever, and they see what I do as well. So it's good to also be able to create that role model for them as well, for them to see, women especially being black. I mean, like you said, you're trans, you're black, you have a lot to layers to have to justify and validate every time. And I tell people, you see, as a female, you already have one strike against you. I know we're not trying to cry wolf and try to, beat about the bush, but it is the truth. You go in for someone like myself, I'm in tech. You have to prove yourself every time you go into that room because you're either going to be fully male dominated or being somebody that is a migrant in another country. You probably won't be the only black person in that room, and you cannot show fear. You must step in there and own it. So for me, I'm like, I have to own my space. So they see me doing the things that I do. And I just got a client today, and I was telling my 8-year-old son, "Mommy just got our first workshop, our first client is paying for a workshop." I'm like, "Oh, well done, mommy! Congratulations!" I share my wins with them. I share my failures. I let them see me in my most, not the messiest, but we have conversations. I want them to see that it's not that easy, but if you persist, if you stick to this and you know what it is you want, oh, it will pay off. It will pay off.
And now we're seeing the next generation of the youth come up that are graduating from these colleges, these universities, and they are taking advantage of their degrees and everything, and they are putting these skills to use, creating their own businesses, venturing out, and then their legacy goes on with their children, and then their legacy goes on with their children. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's about. That's
Yep.
about recycling the black dollar. And
Yep.
there is absolutely nothing wrong with giving back to your own community.
No.
It's okay to splurge on Louis and if you like Valentino and all these other designers, but make sure that you are also putting into your community because there's so many talented. I mean, I could go all the way back to the 80s. You had Patrick Kelly. You had so many black fashion
Yep.
designers and
Mm-hmm.
houses that were out during that time.
Yep.
It's very few and very many that you see now, but
Yep.
now it's an influx of black fashion designers that are graduating from Parsons and
Mm-hmm.
FIT
Mm-hmm.
and specializing in fashion and
Yep.
technology. And it's brilliant how they have now put their skills to the test and they are bringing what they've learned from the colleges and the universities
Yep.
out to the runways.
Yep.
And it's just coming out. We're seeing it in the fashion magazines too.
Yep. Yep. I'm loving it. And I just know that this is, like you said, it is changing. I know it's changing for the better. I know that
Yes.
we as a people are being more conscious about certain things, and we can only hope that as time goes by, I guess, we start to, yeah, integrate all of this, be part of our own community, but also be able to showcase on an international stage and own it, and not just appear, because in the end we want to appeal to everybody, as much as possible, but also to make showcase our own people in the better light, because in the best light possible. Because indeed we're up against um so many stereotypes, about,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
you're black, or you're female, you what do you know about this space, oh, you're black, or what does your country even have technology, what are
They
you
don't think
guys
you're
doing?
qualified for it. Exactly.
Exactly. Did you call, how do you know that? But sometimes, you never get those direct, questions, but you do get the little feeling like, who are you? But you always have to come in with that confidence of, I know and I'm going to own it. I'm going to be here. I will share my piece as much as possible. I will showcase my people, myself in the best light, and hope that you start to see a different perspective to what it is that the media might have fed you. Because in all of these things, it's still the power of the media, in feeding these stereotypes and constantly putting labels on people. I'm like, let people just be people. Like, we're just nobody's getting out of here alive. That much you know. So let people be people. Live and let live. Enjoy what comes. Be in the flow. Be good
Yes.
when you have an opportunity to be. Be good when you don't have the opportunity to be. Just be being in that. Just be yourself. Be present. Be there with people. Appreciate what you see that is good. The things that you do not agree with, speak out, but speak out in love as much as you can. Come from the all perspectives, because there's never two sides to any story. There's always the third side, because a coin doesn't just have two sides. It has a ring. So you put it straight, you're gonna see the ring. So there are many sides to a coin, and as long as we keep on learning how to move, flow, understand, appreciate, you know, understand ourselves even better, understand that we come from generational trauma. So for
Oh
us
yeah.
as a nation, as a black nation, not just the black Africans, as a nation of black people, there's so much ancestral traumas that we still have to fight against, that we shouldn't be
And
fighting
unpack.
ourselves. Like there's already so much to deal with. Like not even the ones coming from the broken homes. We come from, from trauma, physical abuse. You've seen things, you've seen violence to the degree that no child should have seen it before. But here we are, anyways, trying to be better people. If you see somebody trying to be good within the community, give them their flowers. Give them their flowers in that moment. And if you can be helpful, if you can plug back, whatever way that you have, plug back into that business. Get that spotlight for them. Bring the right people. If you know people, even within the white community, that oh, this person can benefit, from knowing my person and mentoring my person, or opening up different opportunities, speak on their behalf. Like the sky is large enough for everybody to fly, for every bird to fly, and why is it simple for every human to achieve, that level of success? And as they say in Web3, we are all going to win, meaning that everybody is going to win. If whatever I do is not going to make you win, then I'm not going to do it, because it's whatever it is I do, if it backfires, affects me too. So everything that we do, and I'm hoping that technology starts to drive that level of unity within our communities,
Oh
where
yeah.
we start to leverage on these technologies. Oh, we want to go into the metaverse. Can we go into a metaverse where we have a black community where everybody is coming together? The black from America, we have the Africans, we are showcasing culture, we're learning each other's, not just, coming from that divide of, oh, you don't understand us and we don't understand you, and so therefore we don't get you and you don't get us. Like, we do get each other. We are all fighting the same battles. We just all want to live. We just all want to be happy, I guess, in the end. And if you can do it in the best way possible and also help another person by lifting them up, then it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. Everybody wins. And we have to get out of that, break that cycle, break that trauma, and be able to support these businesses out here. It's so many that we
Yeah.
could be, it's now like an influx of
Mm-hmm.
fashion
Yeah.
designers, artists that are coming out, that are creating their own content, that are creating their own designs,
Mm-hmm.
and that are putting it out there for you. You just have to see. Go out here and do your research for yourself and search around. It's so many,
Mm-hmm.
and be introduced. So network with the next person and the next person and the next person, and then network on and continue on. And that's how you do it.
I love
So,
that word, networking. I love it.
yes. So before we close out Fashion Dolls, Quirky, what are some pieces of advice that you would give to the next generation of upcoming fashion designers and creators? Because, like I said, it's an influx. It's so many.
I'll say, just like Nike, just do it. I'm gonna borrow, I'm gonna borrow Nike slogan and just do it. Do not listen to naysayers, them telling you, oh, what's so special about your design, what's so unique, or why do don't listen. Do it anyways. It doesn't matter if you want to do a hoodie, you want to go into streetwear. We don't have to be couture. We don't have to be luxury. We don't have to be, this interesting runway looks that you cannot wear off runway. You
Yes.
can have runway looks that can be worn off runway. If that's your style, go for it. If you don't like frills, you don't like, if you just like simple linen, you just like plain neutral tones, go for it. To you, design for you, design for what you will wear. I will always say, go for what you're most passionate for, what you believe in, and so you will find community. Some people out there like your style. They are going to love your designs. They're going to absolutely 100% be backing you on that. So go for it. Don't listen to anything. Go for it. And you don't need money to start a business. If they be telling you that you have to have this kind of capital, that is a lie. Go out there, find the support system. There are business supports. If you cannot find them, and you would definitely find a lot in the US, come to Scotland. I can introduce you to my amazing network. Barclays Eagles Lab. I have Startup Grind. There is Forest. There's one thing. There are so many support systems out there. All you need is an idea. If you have an idea and you believe in that idea and you know that there's a way for you to translate it, go out there with your idea. Talk to somebody. Talk to this. We've left the era of keep quiet so that nobody knows what you're doing. The more you talk, the quicker you're going to be able to manifest what it is that you want to do. So talk to people, go out there, explore, try stuff. I'm in this group called the Change Makers Alliance. Our motto is fail fast. So go in there, fail fast. You know, the earlier you start, the better it is because you will fail, you will learn, you will move, you will grow. So don't be afraid. Do not wait. Go for it. If you want to go for something, you want to do it, do it.
And to add on to what she just said, also, and I tell you guys this all the time, live life through fire. If you have a desire to create, if you have a desire to make something, uh, a thought, write it down, put it on paper. It's never too late to put it in stone.
Mhm.
Create it. Creativity is key. And as far as fashion is concerned, express yourself. And the fashion to me is all about individuality, finding your own personal style that works for you.
Mhm.
And what might work for you might not work for the next person, but you can
Mhm.
suggest.
Yep.
But there's nothing wrong with stepping out of your comfort zone. So
Indeed.
you never know unless you try
Yeah.
fashion dolls. And that's what I tell you guys all the time is step outside of your comfort zone. You never know unless you try it. So we're gonna wrap it up there. And Quirky, I had such a great time. We touched
Thank
on my favorite thing,
you.
fashion. It was so great meeting you. Where can
Likewise.
everyone follow you, and what do you have any upcoming projects you'd like to plug? Because your designs, they're fabulous.
Oh, thank you. But right now, I'm only designing for computers. But I did make this one, but this was a one-off for an exhibition. I handmade this in 24 hours.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I had not touched a sewing machine in 4 years prior to that. Like I, thank you. So
Thank you,
yes,
Chef Ladybug.
so for now, you can find me on my Instagram, Quirky Couture. I'm also very active on LinkedIn as my page, and that is Yemi Scott. So there you can find everything I'm up to here in Scotland, what I'm doing, how I'm disturbing the peace. Yes, you can find out all about that. But most of the time, I'm here on Instagram as Quirky. So please, by all means, follow. And I hope to, for now, the project that I'm running, I have so many ventures. Like it's literally I have my 10 toes and 10 fingers in different pies right now because I'm like I need to, we need to generate some revenue quickly. Well, so for me, it's like I said, I'm doing the one with the announced digital Lagos Digital Fashion Week, where we're going to be bringing in digital fashion into Nigeria for the first time, and we're hosting that. That's going to happen in November of this year. So if you happen to be anywhere in Lagos, Nigeria, falling is going to be the precursor to the dirty December. You know, if you know Lagos, you know the dirty December is very dirty. So
And they're so beautiful. So you guys
thank
check it
you.
out.
Thank
Please go
you.
and check it out.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Francis, you missed it. I just seen
Oh,
Francis. Hi, beautifully
hi,
diverse
Francis.
fashion. We just had an
Mwah.
amazing convo. You missed it, but the replay will be up. And again, it goes back to what Quirky she just said. And that is we have to support black fashion brands and black fashion houses altogether. So if you guys are not, I need all of you my fashion dolls, please go and follow her and Beautifully Diverse Fashion. There are so many black fashion brands out here that you need to check out.
Oh,
And how I got networked with Quirky was through Beautifully Diverse Fashion.
yes,
She connected
Francis.
me with so many
Mwah.
other
Thank you.
black designers, models, everything. So if you guys are not, please go and follow her. And Francis, thank you for setting this up. We had
Thank
such a great
you.
time. This was a very thought-provoking conversation, and I hope I've opened you guys up to just wanting to celebrate and spend your black dollar with black fashion businesses and brands. And that's what we're trying to get you to do here at Style by Steve Fashion Dolls. All right? So, On that note, it was such a pleasure meeting you, girl. I had such a
Oh,
great
thank you.
time.
Likewise, thank you so much for the platform. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for responding to the call because it takes a certain kind of person to be given this kind of mandate to do what you do, and you've taken up so willingly. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Francis. It was such a chance meeting with Francis, someone in Scotland, that she just mentioned you and she's like, I need to introduce you to this person. And I'm so grateful for that and for this opportunity. So thank you very much.
And we gotta have you on again, girl. Like I know for this fashion show you got coming up in November, you better give me hell,
Yes,
girl. Telling
I
you.
definitely. I got the right style for you. I'm going to hook you up with a designer specially. Yes.
All right, all
Yes.
right. So, without further ado, Fashion Dolls, we will see you tomorrow with a very special guest. But in the meantime, you guys can check this replay out, and it will be available on Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. If you have not, please head on over and subscribe and hit that bell because a clip from today's interview with Dev, and of course, this interview will be uploaded to my channel. And we will see you tomorrow at 4. Take care, everyone.